You're sitting in traffic, going nowhere, and your heart is pounding like you're being chased by something that wants to kill you. Nothing is actually hunting you, but your body doesn't know that. As far as your nervous system is concerned, this could be the moment you die. Here's the strange part. That same misfiring system is also the reason one nasty comment can ruin your entire day, while 10 compliments barely register. And it's the same reason a stranger's curated vacation photos can quietly wreck your mood. 3 completely different situations. One single ancient alarm system underneath all of them, still running exactly the way it was built to, in a world it was never built for. Let's start with where the alarm actually lives. Your amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, evolved to handle one specific job: spotting danger fast and flooding your body with cortisol and adrenaline so you could fight or flee in the next few seconds. It was built for short, physical, resolvable emergencies, a chase that ended one way or another within minutes. The problem is, your body still runs that exact same program today, except now it's triggered by a delayed email reply, a tense meeting, or a notification badge, none of which can be outrun or fought, and none of which resolve in a few minutes. So the alarm just stays on, quietly elevating cortisol for hours, sometimes days at a time. Now here's where it gets more interesting, because that same alarm doesn't only fire on physical threats, it's wired to react far more strongly to anything bad than to anything good in every part of your life, not just danger. In 2001, psychologist Roy Baumeister and his colleagues published a paper that's since been cited in over 10,000 scientific studies, simply titled "Bad is Stronger Than Good." What they found across dozens of separate areas of psychology was a strikingly consistent pattern. In studying what predicts divorce, researchers found that the positive things couples said to each other had almost no power to predict whether the marriage would survive. The negative interactions predicted it almost perfectly. In studying friendship formation, one of psychology's oldest findings is that living physically close to someone is the single biggest predictor of becoming friends with them. Propinquity, it's called, but a follow-up study found something almost nobody expects. Living close to someone who was actually more likely to turn them into an enemy than a friend. Proximity amplifies whatever's already there, and bad feelings apparently amplify faster and stronger than good ones do. Baumeister also pointed to something called the hot stove effect. You generally only need to touch one hot stove once to avoid it for the rest of your life, but no equivalent good experience ever seems to install a lesson that permanently. None of this is a coincidence, and it's not a flaw. It's the exact same alarm system from the traffic jam, just running on social and emotional information instead of physical danger. An ancestor who spent extra mental energy dwelling on the one bush that hid a predator, or the one person in the group who couldn't be trusted, was far more likely to survive than one who weighted good and bad experiences equally. Missing a threat could be fatal. Missing a nice moment never was. So the alarm learned to treat bad information as urgent and good information as optional, and it never got the memo that most modern threats are a rude email, not a predator, or that most modern enemies are just people who happen to sit near you at work. And the same alarm has one more trigger almost nobody thinks to blame: other people's success. In the 1990s, anthropologist Robin Dunbar proposed what's now called Dunbar's Number, based on a correlation between primate brain size and average social group size. Extrapolated to humans, he suggested our brains are built to comfortably track around 150 meaningful relationships, people whose lives, successes, and opinions you'd realistically need to keep tabs on. It's worth being honest that the exact number is genuinely disputed. Later researchers found the real figure could range anywhere from 30 to over 200, and some argue there's no single hard number at all. But the underlying idea that your social alarm evolved to monitor a small familiar group, not a sprawling crowd of strangers, isn't seriously in question, which means the same threat and status detector that once tracked a few dozen familiar rivals is now being fed thousands of curated updates from people you'll never meet. It reacts to a stranger's success the same way it would have reacted to watching an actual rival in your camp of 30 outperform you, because it has no mechanism for telling the difference. It's the identical alarm, just aimed at a target it was never designed to process at this volume. 3 completely different symptoms then: a racing heart in traffic, a single bad comment that outweighs 10 good ones, a stranger's vacation photo that quietly stings. But it's one alarm system doing exactly the job it evolved to do, just fed inputs at a scale and a speed nothing in its design ever accounted for. Once you see it that way, it's hard to unsee see, your brain isn't malfunctioning when the email spikes your heart rate, or when the one critical comment outlasts 10 kind ones, or when a stranger's highlight reel gets under your skin. It's running the same program that kept your ancestors alive, pointed at a world that generates 1,000 false alarms a day and hasn't been updated once.